הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. We can hear your voices, but not yet singing. Still hear your voices speaking with each other. Let's make sure that we welcome Shabbat together. Let's make sure that we transform this space into an intentional space. הנה מה טוב, try. הנה מה טוב, second bar. ומה נעים, ומה נעים. It gets complicated. שבת אחים,
שבת אחים
גם יחד.
גם
And repeat.
יחד.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, ומה נעים, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. It's a hard one, right? Let's try it again. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Let's try. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים.
start our service on page 120, lighting Shabbat candles. Would love to invite the Klatzkers. So many Klatzkers in the world. And we are blessing our congregation with, 6 Klatzkers? Well, right now, 5. But Jake, we think of Jake. You can follow them on page 120, and if this is your custom, you might rise.
Can you hear us okay?
I hear you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos. You did it. It's lit.
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Toda Rabah. We'll now turn our Siurim to page 130 for Lechu Ranena. We welcome Shabbat. We walk toward welcoming Shabbat with joy. You can follow also the service on the screen, and otherwise you can open your Siddur on page 130.
Lechu neranena l'Adonai Nariya letzod yishenu Lechu neranena l'Adonai Nariya letzod yishenu Nekadma fanav betoda Bizmirot nariya lo
On page 131.
If I may have everyone rise, please, if you are able and willing. Shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir shechadash, shir shechadash, shir shechadash, l'Adonai. Shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir shechadash, shir shechadash, shir shechadash, l'Adonai. Shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah.
You may be seated. We have a Shabbat poem as we get closer to Lecha Dodi.
Hello?
Here it is.
Shabbat is the place. Shabbat is the place where time and space meet, without questioning how the beginning began or how the ending ends. Shabbat is the place where song and silence meet, blessing each other with the gift of rest. Shabbat is the place where dreams and angels meet, yearning together for a world of peace. Shabbat is the place where holiness and eternity meet, praying together for the world to come.
We're on page 138. Welcome the Shabbos bride. And we encourage people to dance and sing with us. And by the first verse of Lechadodi, the third one that we are going to be singing together, you might want to join us into dancing around the room and welcoming Shabbat also in dance. Once again, page 138, Lechadodi.
Lechadodi likrat kahala bnei Shabbat nekabela Lechadodi likrat kahala bnei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Yishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad v'shemo echad V'shem letiferet v'likeilah Lechadodi likrat kahala b'nei Shabbat nekabela Lechadodi likrat kahala b'nei Shabbat nekabela
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה
כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה למחשבה תחילה
לחדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לחדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה la 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 לחדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה כי התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלי לחדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקלמי מה תשתוכחי ובתמי לך יחסו עניי ימי ונבנתה עיר על תילה לחדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה. And from wherever you're standing, we turn toward the access, the doors, the gates of the synagogue. As we say, Boi v'shalom, we welcome the bride. In peace, we say, Boi v'shalom. התרץ בלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני הסגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה and if you haven't had the opportunity to dance, it's so good to welcome Shabbat on your legs and page 140 in our Sidurim. Tzadit katamari frachi frach, tzadit katamari frach, tzadit katamari frachi frach, tzadit katamari frach. Que eres Balbanonis, 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 que it's 4 steps.
Come on, people. This isn't a show, it's Shabbat. Here we go.
שתולים בבית אדוני, שתולים בבית אדוני, שתולים בבית אדוני, שתולים בבית אדוני, וחצרות אלוהינו, וחצרות אלוהינו, וחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, וחצרות אלוהינו, וחצרות אלוהינו, וחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד תרבום בשיבה, עוד תרבום בשיבה, עוד תרבום בשיבה, דשנים ברעננים, דשנים ברעננים, דשנים ברעננים, דשנים ברעננים, דשנים ברעננים, We have welcome Shabbat. Let's take a moment to welcome each other. We can look at each other and say good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Mevorach everyone. We will now turn our Sidurim to page 146 for Baruch, as we open the gates for the Shema, the gates of worship. Yadalai, rai, rai. Yadalai, rai, rai. Yadalai, rai, rai. Am I awake?
Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayers? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
You may be seated. That's a preview of Josh and Sydney's B'nai Mitzvah, just in a few more weeks.
Yes.
Blessed are you, Adonai, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time, and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. And at this time, there are so many things that we take for granted in our routine. There are so many things that we just go about them, and we don't take even a minute, even a second to think about them. And our tradition invites us to recognize the work of nature as a personal gift. To notice the sun, to notice the stars, to notice the heaven, to notice the beautiful sky and say, this is for me. This entire world was created for me.
becomes day, day turns to night, rolling into dark, rolling into light. Night becomes day, day begins to night. Borei yom v'layla, golech or mipnei choshech, golech or mipnei choshech,
בחושך מפני אור.
roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
Baruch atah Adonai, blessed are you, Adonai, creator of the universe, who help us notices the changes of light and the passing of the seasons, Ma'ariv, Aravim. We invite you to take a moment, and even when it's a bit noisy in here, close your eyes. And as we think of the many wonders, the niflaot that we have in our worlds, in our lives, we try to fine-tune our attention. We try to find focus in our sometimes chaotic lives. We try to pay attention, to notice the wonder, the beauties that we experience in our lives, in our world. And as we come to say the Shema, we try to capture one of those things in our minds and allow those things to become source of love for us. Allow those things to fill our hearts. We're going to take a deep breath. Maybe one more. We say, "Be'ahavadcha al tasir mimenu לעולמים." Dear God, please never remove your love from us. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Israel. Blessed are you, Adonai, loves your people Israel.
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Now turn our Sidurim to page 154 for the reading following the Shema Be'afta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם נאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, לחיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. At the end of the Shema, we recite the blessing for redemption. We recognize that the key to overcome obstacles in our lives is our willingness to step forward with faith and love. We're on page 158. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עוזב ולב, נורא תהילות עוזב ולב. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, מלכותך ובניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלינו ואמרו, אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. די 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 ונאמר כפרנה את יעקב וגאה לו מיד חסק ממנו. That it is say Adonai redeemed Jacob from a challenge that he thought he wasn't going able to deal with on his own strength. And it turns out that he was able because he moved forward. He tried to face the circumstances of his life, tried to move forward with faith, and indeed he was able to do so. Baruch atah Adonai Goel Israel.
Amen.
And if you are holding a siddur, we are going to turn our siddur to page 161. In this Shabbat, which is the Shabbat immediately after Lag BaOmer, we'll talk about Lag BaOmer later, but we will remember that the key for peace is looking at each other with empathy, trying to make a real effort to love each other. And from that place is that we can build a better world, a better society. But from that place that we can build our better selves. We're on page 161.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be
Love and understanding among us.
Let השכיבנו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שומרך. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו, השכיבנו לשלום, השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו, השכיבנו לשלום. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over your people Israel, and over the holy city of Jerusalem. We will now turn our Sidurim to page 164, and as we do so for Tfilat Amidah, we remember that it's Shabbat, and as we do Tfilat Amidah for Shabbat, we try to aim to sacred thoughts. What does it mean to have sacred thoughts? Crickets, right? Like total silence, like no idea.
Define sacred.
Oh, sacred means separate. Thank you for asking. So if we are constantly thinking about, this is what I want, this is what I need, so in Shabbat we take a moment, we take a breath, and we try to think about things that might not be occupying our minds all the time. We try to find focus. So I invite you as we daven Tfilat Amidah. I know we have lots of kids in the room, and kids, by definition, make noise. So let them make noise. It's okay. Not exaggerate noise, but some noise is fine. And let's try to find, all of us, the adults and the kids, a moment for ourselves for silent prayer. We invite you to rise in your spirit, on your legs. You're on page 164 for Tfilat Amidah.
Adonai, שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Now, moment for silent prayer. You can follow the millennial words of our tradition, and you can take a moment for personal meditation. ותגיבו לעולם, אדוני מחמיא את זה. תגיבו לעולם, למה? זה מה שיש. אבל 21, תעשי לו למה.
We are at the bottom of page 160. We conclude Filat Amidah, conclude thinking about our
80.
personal needs. 180.
Yeah.
Thinking about the fact that we are not alone in this world. And that when we think about ourselves, we should look at the mirror and we should look at each other. So we ask for peace.
Shalom imrama, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom imrama, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Hu yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Baruch atah Adonai oseh Shalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, maker of peace. And as we conclude Filat Amidah, we take one more moment to acknowledge those that are dealing with illness in their bodies, in their souls. We acknowledge those dealing with addictions. We acknowledge those that are carrying grief, those that are in pain, those whose hearts are broken. As we pray for their complete and hopefully fast recovery. If you have a name that you'd like to share in this Erev Shabbat, we invite you to do so. My mom, Phyllis Newman.
Just say them out loud. Just bring them into the room.
Kaysen, Jonathan Kaysen. Ren Gatas. Susan Anguiano.
We're on page 371 from Shabbat.
wish to all of them רפואה שלמה והחלמה מהירה, a complete and a fast recovery.
Amen.
So it's story time, it's Torah time. And Rachel will tell you a story, but I will make a quick introduction to that story. So, what's the time of the year we are in?
Omer?
We are counting the Omer. Thank you for that Jewish answer. And yes, we are in the spring, but we are counting the Omer. And we just counted Lag BaOmer, which is the, feel comfortable. Now, genius. Like so we just counted the 33rd day of the Omer, which we call Lag BaOmer. Now, what happened in Lag BaOmer? Sophie, what happened in Lag BaOmer? No. I went to my mommy and I was terrified because the rabbi asked me a question. So, trying to be inclusive, Sophie, here. So, what happened in Lag BaOmer? Well, all kind of things the tradition says that happened in Lag BaOmer. But one of the things that we know is that there was an epidemic. There was a pandemic. Have you heard the word pandemic before? Yes, we heard that word. 10 years ago, we would teach about Lag BaOmer and say that there was a pandemic. People would say, what are you talking about? And now we say, well, there was a pandemic and was pretty brutal during the time of Lag BaOmer, during the lifetime of Rabbi Akiva. And people say, we get it. Now, we know, all of us know what a pandemic is about. But this pandemic was a very, very special pandemic. People were dying from this pandemic. But this pandemic was a pandemic motivated, triggered by hatred. The Mishnah teaches us that the students of Rabbi Akiva were dying because they hated each other. Because lo na'agu kavod ze leze, because they didn't interact with each other with respect. And therefore, by the way, kavod sounds like which word? It sounds like COVID. It's the same root in Hebrew. Just for you to know. But it's terrible. When you make the connections, don't invest too much time studying Torah. But it was a tragedy. It was terrible. And they were dying. And they were dying. And the tradition says that something changed in Lag BaOmer. They all of a sudden understood something about how to behave with each other, and instead of disrespecting and hating each other, they shifted, they switched in a different direction, and they stopped dying. Now, the counting of the Omer connects between two events. One is the Exodus, coming out from the land of Egypt, and the other one is receiving Torah. One symbolizes freedom, and the other one symbolizes what? No, give it to me. No, okay. Repentance is Yom Kippur, but that's a different day. The other one symbolizes what? A covenant. The other one symbolizes structure. It symbolizes a way in which we are supposed to interact with each other. Because it's not only about my freedom, it's not about my liberty only, it's about how we come all of us together. And apparently, that's what the students of Rabbi Akiva didn't know how to do. They didn't know how to come together. Now, what's the most important thing that we need in order to come together, in order to decide that we are going to allow ourselves to be under or with the same structure? Yes, Ari. What? Community, right. We need to know each other. We need to get to know each other. And we got to love each other to some extent. So we talk about, during the time of Lag BaOmer, we talk about love. And there's a beautiful legend that people think is written in the Mishnah. It's not written in the Mishnah. Nonetheless, it's one of the legends that our tradition has chosen to say, this is how we would like things to be. And it's an important story to keep in mind, and Rachel will share that story. No.
Okay, now we can hear me. Hello, everybody. So if you are a kid or young at heart, I invite you to come up here for Torah Time. We have kids. And you know what? Here we go. I'm sharing my space with Noah up here because he's in the chair and I'm on the ground. But you know what? Telling stories as a preschool teacher, this is where I feel most comfortable. So I have a story to tell you about two brothers. They each inherited half of a farm from their father. One of the two brothers, there we go. One of the two brothers was married and had a huge family. The other brother was single and he lived alone. They lived on their farm, but on opposite sides of a hill. One night during the night, the single brother tossed and turned. He was so worried. He was thinking, how can I rest comfortably by myself here in this home and take full half of all of the crops from the farm when my brother has so many mouths he has to feed and he has a family? So, with that thought in mind, he rose out of bed, he went to his barn, and he loaded up all of full bushels of his crops, maybe some carrots. What do we see in that picture? Some carrots, some potatoes, some grapes. Okay, so he loaded up his cart, and he went and quietly climbed the hill, and he brought him over quietly to his brother's barn. But guess what? His brother, back at home, also could not sleep. He tossed and turned, and he was thinking, how can I enjoy my full share of the produce and not be concerned about my brother? He is all alone in the world, without a wife or children or anybody to support him. Who will support him? So he got up from his bed. He went to his barn. He loaded up his cart with all of his produce and quietly climbed the hill, went and left it in his brother's barn. And guess what happened the next morning? The next morning, they both went into their barn and were astonished because guess what? All of the fruit and produce that they thought they had dropped off at their brother's there. It had reappeared. So that night, they went back to their barn, they loaded up their carts, they quietly climbed the hill and went and dropped it off in their brother's barn. And they did this again and again for many nights. Here we go. For many nights they did this, back and forth, and every morning when they woke up, what did they see in their? They saw that the produce had magically reappeared. They were baffled, but they kept trying to feed their brother until one night it happened. What do you think happened? They met each other in the night on the hill. They bumped into each other. Looking at each other, what did they realize? That's where the food is coming from. All this time I thought I had been sending you food, and all this time you had been sending me some as well. And then there in the night, they embraced each other and their love for one another. Well, because the pictures in the story had it raining in the night, but yes. Exactly. Thank you, Maura Gabrielle. Rain makes more produce grow. And actually, before we move on in the service, I want to make a little plug in the spirit of giving what you have to others. This summer, or actually in the fall, our teens will be doing a building project, making a free library. So I invite you, especially the educators who are here with us tonight, if you have books, before you donate them, you can also bring them to TBT and donate them, and they will be contributed to our community library in the spirit of sharing and giving what we have between each other and community.
So one of the things I love about this story is that each of the siblings thought about what he had and what the other one was lacking. And very often we only think about what we have. We don't think much about what the other side might be lacking, and we certainly don't think about what we have to offer, what we can offer. So as an encouragement, I think this is a great time of the year to think about what we can offer to each other, what we can share with each other. So we say we were going to do a blessing. Ari? That's also True. We'll talk later about how that connects with the story. So thank you very much for sharing. So we wanted to share a blessing with teachers, for teachers, as we conclude a year that was complex. Hopefully it's the year in which we are coming out from the pandemic. But being a teacher is always complex, and our tradition celebrate teachers always. So we wanted to share a blessing with teachers in the community. I can recognize a few of you. So all those that are teachers, I invite you to join me, to come up to the bima for 1 second. We'll share.
Educators of any kind, please
If you are a
come up.
teacher, please join me. Come on. If you're a teacher.
And I know who the teachers are and educators
Yeah,
are in
we
the
do
community
know
as
that.
well. So
And we
please
invite-
make your way toward the front.
All the teachers. Come on, class, because you are teachers, we know. Yeah, if you are a teacher, we invite you to join us. Wait, no, that's okay. If you are not, no. We just want to dedicate some attention to the teacher. Now, I want to wait. So if you are a teacher, come. Now, if you are a student, what I want to invite you to do, I want to invite you to come and be very careful with all the things that we have here. So come and you can be in this area, far away from the fire, and you need to be very, very quiet, okay? We're going to open the ark. And if you are, please rise. Okay. I need to keep it now. You share with me later, okay? If you're a teacher, the blessing goes for you too. Okay. Now, I want to see the teachers. There's a meditations and there's an open ark. So I want to stay here. Come here, teachers. We know how difficult it is to undertake the mission of sharing wisdom, and how many energies can be taken on that mission, and what the difficult job is to work constantly on renewing those energies, because your dedication is to share, to constantly give. And being a teacher means being a giver. So we acknowledge and we recognize the gifts that you share with those that are surrounding you, with our children, not only with children, your wisdom and love. So there's a meditation that says, from the Talmud in Masechet Brachot, in the 17th page, when study had been completed in Rabbi, if you're a child, and we are blessing your teachers now, I really want you to be very, very quiet and stand on the spot. Total stillness. You see me? I see you too. Great. When study had been completed in Rabbi Ami's school, students would say to each other, "May you see your world in your lifetime. May your eyes sparkle with the light of the Torah, and your face," and Torah means wisdom, "and your face shine like the brilliance of the heavens. May you speak words of wisdom, and may the deeds of righteousness you do fill your body with joy. And may your feet hurry to hear the words of the ancient, the teacher, one who sets the cycles in motion." We are blessed when we teach what we have learned. This is for students, in the name of the first person who taught us. Before your classes, students, pay attention 1 second, come to an end. Honor your teachers by telling them the Torah, the wisdom, the teachings that you, in turn, will share with other people and will share in their name. We say, "Blessed is the one who ignites wisdom and knowledge. Baruch atah Adonai, המלמד לאנוש בינה." We say, "You graciously endow us with intelligence, teaching wisdom and understanding. Grant us knowledge, discernment, and wisdom. May you be blessed and strengthened as you have blessed and strengthened your students. May you have peace, grace, kindness." It's hard to
hold it all the time, right? Not easy when you're in a classroom. In the synagogue, it's easier. And the classroom is not so easy. So once again, may you have peace, grace, kindness, mercy, long life, and everything you need. These are words from the Kaddish of Rabbanan, from the blessing that we say for our rabbis, for our teachers. So those are the words that we shall share with you. And lastly, the Talmud in Tanit says, why are the words of Torah, of wisdom, like fire? A fire is built by many logs, and the words of Torah survive only through many minds, through the many lives that you have touched. So we're once again grateful for your wisdom. And you say the dignity of your students should be as precious to you as your own. The dignity of your colleagues should be as precious to you as your reverence for your teacher. The reverence for your teacher should be, teaches Pirkei Avot, as great as your reverence for God itself. May you all be blessed, and may you continue shining your light in our community for our students. We will continue our service. Stay here on page 588 with the Ashevota. Stay here as we have it open up. Behashevota El levavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Be'ashevota El levavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Be'nemar V'haya Adonai Lemelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo 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 echad. You may be seated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's the teacher man, Rachel. We'll take a moment as we are about to conclude our service to acknowledge simchas that we have during the month of May. If you have a birthday, an anniversary, or a joyful event that you want to share with the community, this is your time. I hope that the microphones are out here. Is your birthday in the month of May? Anniversary, how many years? Stand up, please rise. If you have something, Kevin, come on. You can do it. It's the anniversary with Kevin, right? Okay, good. The same? Okay. Okay. Any other simcha? Klatskers? A klatsker. What? It's your birthday. How old are you? 50. Danny, when I told you earlier that by this time you are supposed to understand something, it's because 50 is the letter nun in our tradition that means bina, understanding. So when you get it, please share it with all the rest of us. Thank you. Now, no, stand. Come on, you need to make an effort so we do Shechayanu. Noga, your birthday, when is that happening, Noga? Not that I no. On May 31st, and you are turning 42. Masal tov. Gabriel, you're standing.
The answer to life. There's friends over there.
Oh, Avi.
And also Naomi.
Hello. May is a big month for us. It's my birthday.
Today?
Not today, the 14th.
The 14th.
And the 19th was my anniversary, 15 years.
15 years of marriage.
Yeah.
That's an impressive number.
Audrey.
Congratulations.
Audrey.
You're going to get there.
May
May 14th.
May 14th was your birthday. That's the only information we're going to get. I understood that.
My birthday,
Say it, Audrey.
May 6th.
May 6th. Thank you for sharing, Audrey. No, remain standing, Audrey. Come on. You can do it. Come on. Naomi, go for it.
My birthday, which is on May 11th, and I turned 15.
15 years old, Naomi.
Oi, the time, where is it gone?
Are we missing any simcha?
I got one.
Gabriel.
If everybody else is done. I will be concluding my 4th year of cantorial school. So close.
Congratulations. So with all these simcha.
And also, Tammy left the room, but May 16th was her birthday, this Monday.
Yeah, Tommy.
Nahon was Tammy's birthday. So if you are sitting next to someone who is standing, please rise. And make sure that they are not alone as we acknowledge. If you are sitting next to someone who is standing, please rise. As we say, Sheheyanu Bekimanu, as we acknowledge the time that we have lived and we celebrate the time that we have lived with. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Sheheyanu Bekimanu v'gihanu l'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו בקדמה והגיענו לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה. And as we acknowledge, you may be seated, and as we acknowledge life, we also acknowledge the lives of those who we missed, the lives of those that enlighten our lives. We take a moment to acknowledge mourners in our community. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning Shiva, please rise. If you are during the first 30 days of mourning Shloshim, please rise. And share with us who you're remembering. And what was your cousin? If you are during the first year of mourning, please rise. You have a yahrzeit, anniversary if someone's passing by this time. Grandmother, what was her name? Blessing. If you have a yahrzeit, the anniversary of someone passing by this time of the year, in years past. You can support our fellows by standing or sitting, joining us with your voices and your hearts for Kaddish Avelim, Mourners Kaddish, on page 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה.
אמן.
ועלמה דברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה. וחייכון ובימכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, באמרו אמן.
אמן.
יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמל מהיה. יתברך, וישתבח, ויתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה.
בריחו.
נעילה, מן כל ברכתה ושילתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה. ואמירם בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. יש למרבה מן שמיה, וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. May the memories of your dear ones be always a blessing in your life. יהיה זכרם ברוך. You may be seated. So we are about to conclude. Oh, thank you. We are about to conclude our service. We want to share two
two announcements before Kiddush. Number one is tomorrow is the last day of Havaya, our school. So we remind all of you to come. We will do a little blessing. We'll invite you for an aliyah to conclude the year in celebration together. It wasn't granted that we were going to make it through in the year in which we are still dealing with the pandemic, and we were able to do it, so we are very grateful for that. And in addition, June 4th, Erev Shavuot, we have a fantastic, wonderful celebration. So we encourage you to join us and to participate in our cheesecake and savory, cheesy, whatever you want to make competition. So please join us. And we will also make sure that we have some dairy-free items in the competition for those that are lactose intolerant, even though we are all for tolerance. Now, we were talking about rabbi's jokes, right, earlier. Here I had to. So anyway, we encourage you to come to that. And we'll also have a beautiful Avdallah on the 11th, which we will have the opportunity to say goodbye and to have a proper separation as me and my family at the end of the month of June. We will be starting our way to Northern California. And of course, we have three B'nai Mitzvah ceremonies pending, coming, don't worry. On the 18th, Samuel is not here, but he will be coming up to the Torah. And on the 25th, Sydney, finally, I have been waiting for years. You have been the most expected bat mitzvah of my personal history. And I want to share with you a story. When we were singing today, Micha Mocha, we were singing the Micha Mocha, the melody of Dan Nichols. And I remember that, I think 6 years ago, it was trendy, and I decided that we needed to learn it for family services, and we made a YouTube video, and you were practicing it in the car. I even spoke with your parents about it, and then when family services came, we didn't do it. And you were so frustrated. So consider that as a payback. I saw you today, I said, we're going to do the Dan Nichols. So it's a joy to see the children of our congregation grow. It's a joy to share community. And on the 25th, Josh and Sydney will be coming up to the Torah, and we will be celebrating. Ryan, yours is in September, right? Yeah. It's around the corner. Yeah, that will be such a joy and celebration. So we'll conclude with Kiddush. Am I doing Kiddush, Rachel? Okay. We are on page 122. ויחו לשמיים את הארץ בכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי כי בו מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת בכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Please rise. סברי חבריי וחברותיי.
לחיים!
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת
מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, עם כל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו.
ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
We'll now take a moment, if your family is standing nearby you, we take a moment to acknowledge our creations. You can come here. We take a moment to acknowledge the wonder of all creations and the beauty of all creations.
If you have a son near you, please repeat after me. Yisimcha Elohim,
ישמחה אלוהים,
ke'Ephraim v'chimenashe.
אפרים וכמנשה.
May God inspire you to live
He will inspire you to live
like Ephraim and Menashe.
like Ephraim and Menashe.
And for our daughters, we say, Yisimech Elohim, Kisara,
שרה,
Kerivka,
רבקה,
Kerachel,
רחל,
Uvechelea.
ולאה.
May God inspire you to live like Sarah, like Rebecca, like Rachel, and like Leah. And for both our boys and girls, we embrace them and we say, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lachem shalom. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace.
And we are creators of the peace that comes from recognizing our needs and being able to love each other, to look at each other with empathy. Adonai os לעמיו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, מבורך אלירן. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, שים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, שים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, שים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך,